7:02, I will call this regular meeting of the Oxford Village Council to order. It is April 11th, 2023. If you'd stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. If you would call the roll, please.
Lori Bourgeau,
Present?
Elsie Cook is absent. Maureen Helmuth,
Yes.
Allison Kemp,
Yes.
and Jacob Nicosia.
Present.
I'll make a motion to excuse Kelsey Cook from the regular meeting.
Support.
All right. Next is the consideration of the...
wait.
We have to vote on that.
Oh,
Just a moment.
all in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Next is the consideration of the agenda. I would like to make a motion to postpone item 9B, FOIA policy and guidelines until the next meeting. Kelsey has been instrumental in that, and I would like to hear her input.
So I want to make a motion to amend the agenda with that removed.
I will make a motion to amend the agenda with that removed, as well as item 8C, rental inspection ordinance.
Is that A and B under 9?
No, one's under 9 and one's under 8.
So we're doing B. Okay, I'll support that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Okay, thank you. Moving on. We have two public hearings tonight. We have, so I'd entertain a motion to open the public hearing at this time.
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing on the amendment to ordinance. What's the ordinance number?
What's the order?
Article 6, Section 42-133B.
There's no ordinance number? Okay, I'll make that motion.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It is
704.
7:04. If there's any public who would like to speak on that matter? Seeing none, I will make a motion to close the public hearing at 7:04. 7:05.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Hearing none, I'd like to make a motion to open the public hearing for Article 5, Section 46-5 at 7:05 p.m.
Article 10.
Article 10.
And I will support.
Any public like to...
At 7:05.
Any public wish to comment on that matter?
We have to vote on that.
No? All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Oh, I didn't hear what you passed on. Any public like to make a comment? Hearing none, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing at 7:06 p.m.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? All right, motion passes. All right, at this time, it will be called to the public. As a reminder, public comment is limited to 3 minutes, and all public shall refrain from making personal and public attacks against council members or others in attendance. All public comments may be directly addressed to the council president. Any public wish to speak at this time?
Whatever Dave has to say is going to be personal.
So I'm not saying anything.
Seeing none, all right, seeing none, we will move on to our number 7, consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda items A, 1, and 2 as presented.
Support. All right, motion made by Helmut, seconded by Bourgeau, sorry, I couldn't hear. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Of course, aye.
Aye. Any nays? All right. Okay, moving on to item 7B.
Make a motion to approve agenda items 7B, including the bills, amount of $147,294.51.
Support.
All right, motion made by Helmut, seconded by Bordeaux. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
That's a roll call vote.
Roll call.
Okay, that's good.
You call the roll.
Helmut,
Yes.
Kemp,
Yes.
Bordeaux,
Yes.
Nicosia.
Yes. Or change.
Cook is absent.
All right, moving on to unfinished business. Mr. Weckel, would you give us an update on the community project, please?
We missed you, Dave.
I know, what you do. I brought you some nice weather.
Thank you for that.
All right, Dave Wetzel, developing 32 East Verdict and surrounding properties. We've made a lot of progress since last week, particularly on the parking lot. It's subgrade is ready. They're doing the final grade for stone and the sidewalks and curb and gutter. I expect that will be done within a week and a half, and ready for concrete. And then we'll let it set for a little while, get the dumpster pad put in, get the Edison poles moved around, and then put the stone and asphalt, a base coat of asphalt.
Are the plants open yet?
Is it what?
The plants open yet? The asphalt?
Plant? Oh, I don't know. We got lucky this year. There's no frost laws, so I wouldn't be surprised if they're not open. They're trying to get it fired up. You know, they get heated. On the building itself, you haven't been able to see very much because most of the work's been done on the inside. But Thursday, our siding for the towers is being delivered. So that should only take us a week, and we'll have both the towers done and just waiting for our entry doors. So it'll actually be totally closed in at that point. I guess that's it, unless you have a question. No?
Your architect,
He passed. As a matter of fact, he passed the night of the council meeting. Yeah, it was bad. We think we have another person to step in and take his place, but I don't have him under contract yet. And the village has been working with us on the drawings so we can get our permits and such, but there's a few little details that he was not able to finish before he passed. We were in the process of doing them. He called me actually from the hospital and said, well, I can't get that done yet, but I'll be probably out by the weekend. He said, but you know, I'm here in the hospital, I'm really sick. And then 2 days later, he sent me a text, I'm going in intensive care. I said, oh, geez. So and it was gone from that point. It was a shame. He was a wonderful person.
Thank you.
Okay. Dave, thanks.
Going back to Florida?
No, we're going to play in the dirt.
Too nice in Michigan now.
He brought Florida here.
Yeah, it's nice up here.
Thank you, Dave.
Next on the agenda, we have item 8B, our 2023-2024 budget discussion.
Basically, I did a lot of updates, minor updates from where our last budget workshop was, just tweaking a few numbers here and there, putting in a little bit of money to replace the door on our side, things like that. So it's only a couple $1,000 difference than what we had discussed at their last budget workshop. Basically showing a 90,000 and change budget surplus. Again, in our workshops, we obviously are setting money aside in the local roads fund to help augment that fund for future water main projects. Also, during the workshop, I moved the money to the franchise fees out of our normal retaining some of it to forwarding all of it to OCTV. That was just to let you guys know what it looked like. I think that's up to you guys to decide if that's the direction you're going to stick with. Other than that, not much has changed. I did get, Terry got it from Joe Ferrari today, yesterday, the L4028, the taxable value is showing increasing value now, so I have a little better idea where the taxable value is going. I'm waiting for another week or so to get the DVA stuff from county utilization. Tax value was up higher than I thought here, so the revenues will increase even a little bit more. So, not a whole lot to change or add. I know we had our 2 workshops, and so we're looking on the agenda in case anybody had any.
Do you feel like sharing a number with us?
It went from like
You
100.
have it in front of you, like, it's, I'm sorry, Joe,
Oh, the tax value?
yeah, it's on, not that, it's on the sheet that under, sorry, item,
Someone she got it, was on.
it would be 9F. We'll be setting a public hearing for the budget of truth and taxation under new business, and on that sheet of paper that says 9F on it in front of you on your desk, it has the, I believe it's, well, maybe I did, we'll take some of it. It's 159,000. Here, you know what? It's right here, actually.
I don't cheat on that one.
Here's the L4029 that I completed. It's 159,844,490. You want to take a look at it when we pass it down? You guys can look at it. This has to be signed by Kelsey Cook.
So, I got the numbers jotted on my desk, and I thought they were there. So we went, I hate to guess at them, but I could get them for you in a minute if you'd like.
That's all right.
Okay. But that's still the old one and the new one?
That's the new one. The old one was 140.
That's, the other was 143 or something, wasn't it?
140, and then whatever. But it was 140 million.
Yeah, we went from like 143 million to 159. 145, so it went up in tax value. Part of that is, obviously, it will be captured by DDA, but part of the 5% across the board will be some additional revenue, tax monies for houses on capping and new bills and stuff.
Do we have any plans for that yet, or will that just get added to, I guess?
Yeah, that would increase the fund balance revenue, excess fund balance we have here, or surplus.
Okay.
So I can send up a little updated version. I wanted to leave this the same as it went out last week, because it's only this week that we got those numbers, so I want to leave what was in your packet, but I can send you an updated budget with that new numbers we got yesterday in here.
We're gonna be getting new packets constantly. I don't wanna waste what I'm just at.
No, just email. I can just email you this budget with the updated revenue numbers in it. Like I said, they just came in yesterday. I have kind of guessed as to how much that'll be captured by the DDA, because that's not clear on that part of it. It's the overall increase in tax value, which is pretty good. It might end up doubling what our surplus is here at 90,000 to like 180,000. So it's in that range.
Good.
And again, as we put in that extra $500,000 plus the 40,000 extra into our local streets, this might offer a little bit more funding for that.
In regards to the franchise fees, would someone like to start a discussion on that?
I would like to see us increase what we're giving the cable company. If you guys don't feel we can do the whole 100%, then we can pick 60-40, 65-35, and just throw them some additional funding so they can keep going with the improvements that they've made.
What do we do now? We do 50, but we have a required amount, right?
Peg fees.
Peg fees.
They get all the PAG fees.
Yeah, right. And
We
then,
get 50% of the franchise fees.
okay. I mean, some communities give all the PEG and all the franchise.
Hartford Township gives 100%. Leonard, I don't know what Leonard's doing.
100%.
Addison Township, I think, is doing 50-50 right now.
They're doing what you do.
Okay, yeah. Go ahead.
I could get behind 60-40.
I mean, we're always gonna want that money for something. There's always
Our parking lot for one.
a retention pond, fire hall, a parking lot. There's always something. So we just have to decide what's a good number and go with it, and then try to do better.
Yeah, because keep in mind, like I said, if our 90,000 surplus now doubles to 180, great. Well, that's about a quarter of what our parking lot cost is, so that's great. That sounds like a lot of extra money, but we're doing good this year, but, there's that to consider. So. But that, this is reflected right now of 100% going to them. Right, so if you find a different number, then I could update that.
I'm at the whimsy of the council. Have you lost your whimsy?
Either you have, Lori or Jacob, have any ideas?
I could get on board for 75. I'd like to kind of understand how we would, how this would help them as well too. Like if they have a way to be able to tell us like how it could help increase the value and services that they offer. I think that would be fantastic, but I think we definitely should do more if we possibly can.
I'm sure you get the station manager here at the next meeting.
Yeah, you're in that board. What have they been doing? What have they done in the last year or two?
Well, the big thing that they've done is they live stream it. They're live streaming everything.
Mhm.
And they're getting a lot of bumps on Facebook and on YouTube for all the live streaming. And they're on the YouTube. Like, I know what YouTube, I know my phone is on YouTube. I'm not that old. They've increased their cameras, so they're able to do, when they go to a baseball game, they just have a camera on the pitcher. They can do different camera angles, and they're working with Lake Orion's cable company, and they're sharing their libraries, so they have additional, they have additional programming that they can show. They got a lot of irons in the fire right now.
Have they had any staffing increases, anything like that you know of?
Have you guys hired any new cameramen? I think they're just going with their,
They're just making
make it work.
the technology. Okay.
Oh, are we getting a positive reaction in the community from this increased streaming?
They're definitely getting positive reactions. Grandparents are able to watch their kids when they don't have to come back to do it. They're watching it live. I guess they don't live stream graduation, I would think, commencement.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah. It's a good time to be alive.
I'll make a motion that we give 75% of franchise fees to OCTV.
I'll support that.
So we stay with all of the PEG and 75% of franchise.
We have to get on that.
Yeah, just wanna make sure we're-
And then 75-25 on the franchise.
So I'll just amend that to say that we give them all of the pay and 75% of the
Perfect.
remaining fees. That's my motion.
Still supporting.
I would like to see, I guess, also in addition, them kind of let us know how it would help them as well too, so that we can.
I'll have Terry come to a meeting.
Yeah, if we can have that come.
Madam President?
Yes.
So, well, you mentioned about having her perhaps at next month's meeting. Well, next month's meeting, we should set up for public hearing to adopt our budget unless we want to have a special meeting later in the month. If we're ready and prepared, then we will schedule it. We're going to talk about that later. So yes, she could be here, but it might be at the same time we're looking to adopt it, perhaps, based on the direction of the council.
I could get her to write something out and get it out to everybody.
Prepare like a memo.
Absolutely.
I mean, rather than, yeah, maybe give
I
it,
know she's real passionate about this. She'll write it.
yeah, so that way we
Write a book.
Yeah, I don't
Give
know.
her a page from it.
Jacob, if you were thinking that were you thinking that you wanted them to talk before we agreed to the budget, or could it be like June even that they come and speak with us?
Yeah, that's fine. I just, and it doesn't have to be anything real fancy, just kind of understand like how we're helping them, so that, we're obviously going to give them more. We'd like to understand how that's kind of helping them out.
Could we just get the memo, an update memo?
Absolutely.
Yeah, an email or something.
And then if she usually comes like every couple of years, so she
Yeah.
wants to schedule to come sometime.
Make sure
in the near
Terry
future.
watches tonight's show.
She watches like
Yeah.
live stream. You do.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You have a motion on the floor. Madam Clerk, if you would call the roll.
Borjo,
Yes.
Talbot,
Yes.
Nicosia,
Yes.
Kemp,
Yes.
and Cook is absent.
Thank you.
I'll make that adjustment in the budget accordingly.
Thank you.
Would someone like to discuss the DDA tonight?
Well, we had it, budget-wise, you mean?
We had discussed in terms of the DDA with giving us an update.
I'm trying to remember what that.
You sent us an email just regarding,
Oh, yes, overall funding. And my recommendation was, what the email I sent to everybody was, at this time, they're looking to spend so much money, their full fund balance, I think, on the Northeast Parking Lot Quadrant project. And I gave a breakdown of the fixed cost they give us for DPW maintenance and stuff downtown, and the fixed cost they give us annually for the police patrol and stacking of events, as well as a breakdown of a lot of various little costs that added up to a little over $8,700, if I remember right, between insurances and some of the utility costs and things like that. I just thought at this point, we're looking at a pretty healthy fund balance surplus, and they're looking to spend 95% of their fund balance on that parking lot. It might not be a good time to look to changing that. That was just my take on it. That was for you guys to digest and take up.
You said it might not?
I didn't think it would be
I believe Joe is changing his tune.
No, I said at the meeting that night, I said, well, let's look, because they were looking to spend about 100% or almost all of their fund balance in the Northeast Quad parking lot. And you guys asked for, can you give an idea of the other incidental costs and give them a add up, and I had them next day or a day or two later, I sent them up to you guys. And I think at that point, I said I'm not sure we want to tackle any changes in the funding at this time. We're doing a little bit better than we have years in the past, and they're looking to spend a huge amount that they've been kind of saving up.
Are we, so the ownership of that parking lot, is that like zoning, or is that going to be an issue? Is part of it owned by Williams Art Glass? Or?
Yeah, technically they own it, and we had a 99-year lease that's about 17 or 23 years old, something like that. We paid like $77,000 or so for like 99 years with a renewal. So it's for public parking use only. We maintain it, and that's part strictly behind Williams Art Glass. It goes straight back to the dumpsters. Every bit of that north behind Homegrown and those shops at 40 North with the Magic Browning stuff is Herman Glass, that's all private up there up the East Street. A lot of people look at that, it looks like downtown village owned property, but it's private. So yeah, the part behind Williams Art Glass is under lease, long-term lease in the village.
And that's part of this project as well?
Yep,
too?
that's where the DDA project, paving project would end. It would cover the north edge of that Williams Art Glass property, go back to the dumpsters, that's alley, all the way around to Burdick and then up around there by Nax. And I'm thinking estimates were $250, $275 or something like that.
Yeah, with all that.
Plus some other front-end costs.
Closer to that 300 mark.
Yes, plus the front-end costs we had. And then we were already, the village was already kicking in like 12.5 on the, some of the $25,000 estimate of engineering and surveying stuff on the front end. We've already incurred some of those costs of the core sampling and stuff.
any further thoughts or discussion on the budget tonight? Alright. Moving on to new business item A, FOIA appeal.
As you know, because we've been through this, I think, one time before, in our FOIA process here in the village, we have named the village council as the head of the public body for appellate purposes. Under the law, when somebody has a challenge to a FOIA response, normally a denial, they have the right to come to the head of the public body. And this, because you're a public body, as the head of the public body, it's your next regular meeting. Whenever they submit the appeal, it's handled at your next regular meeting, and that is tonight. So we sent a written notice by email, and I think just by, to the individual who we correspond with a lot, believe it or not, to Mr. Gertzberg, indicating that we would be hearing his appeal. We have a written response from Mr. Gertzberg saying all he has to say is in his appeal, and he will not appear and present his appeal this evening. So what I would like to do for you is just have the clerk explain what was the request and how did we formulate our response through conversations with legal counsel, outside legal counsel, and myself. And then you have to make a decision to do one of three things. You uphold our response, you reverse our response, or you modify our response. So with that, I would like the clerk just to read what was the request, just read the request itself.
Okay, the request itself is, would you please provide me a single record of a retiree, member of the MERS defined benefit plan, who receives retirement benefits, but who does not have contractual rights to these benefits. And in your packet, was included the original email asking for the appeal, the response that he sent saying that he wasn't going to attend this meeting, and my notice of denial, which, Bob, would you like me to read that?
Yes.
The denial is based on exemption from disclosure, MCL 15.243, FOIA section 13, subsection 1A, because information of a personal nature, if public disclosure of the information would constitute a clearly unwarranted invasion of an individual's privacy. I also consulted our legal attorney who handled this case when he sued us for not getting the information that he wanted through FOIA. So the settlement, he has terms that he has to abide by, and they are checking with the insurance company to make sure, because this information is all the same. There's nothing new as far as any responses I'm able to give or records I can provide that have changed from before he took action against us. So
Madam Clerk, you consulted with our outside legal counsel, correct?
Correct.
You consulted with me, correct?
Correct.
And independently, we both came up with the same denial reason. We're not in a position where we can give away individual persons' relationships to our retirement plans. It's information that is personal to those people, and there are laws that make that an exclusion from disclosure. So that is our position for the denial, and it would require a roll call vote for you to take action on this appeal. Again, you can affirm our decision, you can affirm the decision, or you can reverse the decision or modify the decision.
I'll make a motion to affirm the response to the FOIA request.
Support. All right, motion made by Helmuth, seconded by Kemp. Any discussion? Would you like a roll call vote on that?
Yes.
All right, Madam Clerk?
Kemp?
Yes.
Borjo?
Yes.
Nicosia?
Yes.
Helmut?
Yes.
And Cook is absent.
Okay. Item 9C, second reading amendments to our
Council, if you remember, this was related to the expansion of the social district. There was a couple different areas in the ordinance that we needed to address. One was section 42-133, open containers of alcohol liquor, and then the other one was related to parks and rec, section 46-5. And our solution to make sure there wasn't a conflict was to add the text, except in duly authorized social district commons areas, to both sections of the ordinance. So those activities and those locations were no longer in conflict as we expanded district.
So we would need two motions, one for each second reading.
I just want to reiterate that Centennial Park is supposed to be a family park, and I don't believe alcohol belongs in that park.
Can we also ask that the motion include an effective immediately and an adoption of those amendment, the language presented, as presented?
Yep. So we would need a motion on the first article to approve not approve the second reading. If you approve it for immediate, become effective immediately.
I will make a motion to accept, right? To approve the second reading for amendments to ordinance Article 6, Section 42-133 immediately. This is 133B. Do you need me to read what the change is?
No.
It's as presented.
As presented.
As presented, effective immediately.
Okay.
Support. All right, motion made by Peugeot, seconded by Kemp. Any discussion?
Which one is this? Is this a social district?
This one right, this is right in the back.
Okay, that's where it is.
Just right there.
I've never done two in the same cell before.
So the memo from Steph last month was in the packet. Terry updated the page stuff. Under 9F.
We need to vote on that one for the next one, right?
Yep, roll call. Helmut?
Did you support?
No,
Yeah.
I support.
Oh, I said no.
Okay. Borjo?
Yes?
Kemp?
Yes.
Nicosia?
Yes.
All right. Amendment passes.
Okay.
I will
All right, try again. I will make a motion to accept the amendments to ordinance 10, section 46-5, as presented, effective immediately.
support. All right, motion made by Peugeot, seconded by Kemp. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, roll call vote, please.
Nicosia?
Yes.
Kemp?
Yes.
Helmut?
No.
Borjo?
Yes?
Okay, motion passes. All right, item 9B, renewing tax settlement agreement, resolution 23-04.
So there's a memo from the clerk in the packet. Recommendation to renew the agreement to the council approval resolution 2304, which is also in the packet.
I'll make a motion to renew the agreement through resolution 2304 for the summer tax collection and settlement agreement.
Support. Motion made by Helmut, seconded by Kemp. Any discussion? All right, hearing none. Madam Clerk, would you like a roll call vote?
Borjo?
Yes?
Nicosia?
Yes.
Kemp?
Yes.
Helmut?
Yes. Is it really warm in here?
It's
All right, moving on to item 9E, West Nile Resolution 23-05.
Again, memo in the packet about the program, how we do it each year. Resolution 2305 addresses it. Recommendation would be to adopt the resolution.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 23-05, authorizing the village manager as the agent for the Village of Oxford in the manner and at the extent provided underneath Oakland County Board of Commissioners to request reimbursement for eligible mosquito control activities under the Oakland County West Nile Virus Fund Program.
Support.
Motion made by Kemp, seconded by Helmut. Any discussion? Hearing none. We have a roll call vote, please.
Nicosia,
Yes.
Helmut,
Yes.
Kemp,
Yes.
Bordeaux,
Yes.
Cook is absent.
Okay, moving on to item 9F, scheduling the public hearings.
Would you like me to?
You would give us some background.
Okay.
There's a memo in the packet.
Yeah, there's a memo in the packet. According to our ordinance 321, section 70 to 78D, charges for delinquent utility billing that are more than 6 months old shall be certified by the clerk, and unpaid charges will be added to the tax bill. We've sent letters out to all individuals who are late, and they have the opportunity to pay their bill, the delinquent amount until May 1st. And if at that time they are not paid, they will go on the tax roll. You will be presented with, for the May meeting, when you adopt your budget and we go through the truth and taxation hearing, a list of those properties and the outstanding amounts. That will be presented to you at that time. So we do need to set a public hearing to give the public an opportunity to comment on the delinquent billing, specifically as it relates to them, or, I mean, anybody can comment on that. So that's one public hearing that needs to take place. The second one is the budget/truth and taxation hearing. And I gave you a separate piece of paper because, as Joe said earlier, we just got the numbers updated from the county literally today via Joe Ferrari. The reason why we have to have the truth and taxation, which is held in conjunction with the budget hearing. So it's one hearing for both of those, is because we need to maintain our the Headley rollback at the, it has to be, what's the minimum? I don't think I have my paper here. It's 10 point something. Our levy is 11.2. So if you follow on, yes, 11.12, I'm sorry. So if you follow on that sheet of paper, there's some calculations that are made there. And because our levy is over that 10 point whatever mark that's on your paper, we have to hold the truth and taxation hearing in conjunction with the budget hearing, where you will approve your budget. After we have the public hearing and public is allowed to comment, then later on in the meeting, the budget will be up for adoption with the figures from the truth and taxation that will say how much we expect to levy.
And 11.12 is the revenue that we've been operating under the last few years. That was a $500,000 increase from a couple years ago set aside for public streets. In order for us to maintain that, again, like Terry said, we just have to have this hearing. Otherwise, it will be reduced by the reduction factor down to like 10.38 or something like that. 10 point.
Yes, and you can never go back up. Well, what does it say on your sheet? Is it 10.342, something like that?
10.4683.
Yeah. That's close.
So do you want to do the delinquent violations on the same day?
Yes,
So all of these will be held on May 9th?
yes.
The recommendation she wrote together and the memo she put together.
Do we need two motions for that, Bob?
No, you're only setting one hearing, so just explain what's going to be the hearings for May 9th in the motion.
I'll make a motion to schedule a public hearing on May 9, 2023 for delinquent utility billing violations per Village Ordinance 321, Section 70-78D, at 7 p.m. or shortly thereafter. And they're also scheduled a public hearing on May 9, 2023 for the Truth and Taxation budget hearing.
Okay, motion made by Helmut, seconded by Bordeaux. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Nicosia,
Yes.
Tolman,
Yes.
Bordeaux,
Yes.
Kemp.
Yes. Next on our agenda is item 9G. We have a request for proclamation. We briefly discussed this at our last meeting, our last special workshop budget meeting, regarding Wear Orange Day. And I believe we also wanted to have a larger conversation about policy for approving proclamations.
I myself don't really enjoy proclamations. I don't ever want to have a high day or every Saturday and I think people ask for everything. And I would just as soon not get into the habit of approving them.
I kind of agree. I see it as similar to the ribbons requests. I worry that we'll get too far into it. I do believe that there are times where it's appropriate and it fits with actions that we've taken as a council. But I don't want to get bogged down in multiple requests with just slightly changed words throughout the year.
I agree with that as well too. I think, compassionately, I think that I understand the request, and ultimately the message, and I agree with that. I think though, we already have multiple, I don't want to say multiple proclamations, but we already have multiple events where we are recognizing this, and I don't want to be in the position where I don't want to say people are profiting, but ultimately taking advantage of our situation, because my heart goes out to the families and the people that are involved in this, and I think that that's really what I'm thinking about here when I say this. I've asked and had multiple conversations with folks in the village as well too, and I'm just really struggling with our place to make additional proclamations as well too, and how much we want to get involved in that, just as the council member mentioned.
What action would you like us to take at this time? What form of action?
I don't think you need to take any action. You were granted a request, so I mean, you just not gonna honor it, you can move on. And if you care to formulate some kind of policy down the road and put that in writing, I guess you could do that. So I would, because this didn't come to administration first, this came to Council President Kelsey Cook directly, and then she shared it to me just prior to the workshop. That's how it came to the workshop agenda. She wasn't comfortable having to deal with it or make a decision on it, so we brought it there. And then again, like most idea, that workshop was, let's bring it to more public meeting where all these people could hear about it. Like, both of them.
Live stream.
I know, right? So I'm joking. So I think no action is needed. You guys could take action down the road if you want to put together some type of a formal policy.
I don't know if we,
That gets tough because then you start making things in a gray world, trying to make it black and white.
Get the policy out.
I think people should feel more than welcome to introduce or request things from us, introduce them to us. I think we've set one annually that we'll be doing in regards to the same kind of situation, but it's more inclusive. And I don't know if on social media we want to share something about it or not. I don't know.
So if they do come to me or Terry something to email the request, hey, can you put this on your agenda? Typically in the past, sometimes something like that, let's say a proclamation might go to the council president or whatever, the president pro tem, say, you guys want this on the agenda, just give us direction, and then there's only one or two persons acting on behalf of the five, sometimes they're not comfortable making that decision, and something that's not necessarily a hot button, but, you know, emotional perhaps, or very involved. And then if you go to the council, put it on the agenda for discussion, this is a little tricky sometimes.
The overall legal problem with the proclamations is consistency. And proclamation you make this year, and then you look at proclamations made 3 years from now, and whether they're inconsistent or consistent. It's difficult to recall the tenor and the tone of one proclamation as you're looking at a semi-similar proclamation in years to come. I think the community knows how this council feels.
Can I make it, are we, on our social media, if we're, I don't know how active we've found that recently, but it's just kind of really forced in advance, but if there's a chance we could, around that day,
The February?
it's what, to get this, no, this one, I think.
The June date.
If we could just maybe plan to do a post of like reminding people that they can go to the police station to pick up locks, gun locks, something like that. Just to share something out like that I would appreciate. Like, it's not exactly this proclamation, but it's just a reminder. We put the post out like that a while ago. So something like that.
Yeah.
Is that okay? Is that?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Good suggestion.
Unless there's further discussion, we can move on to item H, request to install on village property.
Okay, you see, what is that here? This came from Orville, which is the Iowa Recreational Baseball Association, which runs the league down there at our ball fields at the end of Broadway and Glasgow. First thing I did is pitch it down there. And what his thoughts were on it. The location of it is fine. It's not near the street. We don't have to worry about it, falling into the right of way. It's wholly on village property. As long as they install it by the manufacturer's specs, Mr. Brantley had no issues with it.
No visibility issues.
No visibility issues, no traffic issues. It's not near a sidewalk. It's a little storage building that they have there, but that's just a storage building. So we don't see any issues adding flagpole and honoring this request.
Is this going to be our flag to take care of, when it's half-staff?
Once it's up, I'm sure we'll incorporate it into like the other ones we do. We have one in front of the water plant, one in Centennial Park, one in front of our offices, and I'm sure this will eventually be one of ours that we maintain.
What flags are you going to fly?
The U.S. flag is always
Michigan and US, it says.
State of Michigan.
No.
Not Michigan State, the state of Michigan.
I saw
It
that.
does say Michigan State.
I saw that.
Let's clarify.
All right, so I
Let's make
saw
sure
the
there's no
Michigan State.
green allowed.
I saw the Michigan State.
You can see.
I saw the Michigan State. I just thought I'd bring it up. Make sure you
Clarification,
make sure you
thank you.
clarify that.
Yes, federal and state flag.
I mean, if it was blue, I'd be all right with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would almost prefer that right up front we took control of the flags and raising and lowering if that's possible.
Yeah, they'll do that as well. Our DPW staff does that at the water plant, Centennial in here.
Yeah, I thought you were saying eventually, like, we let them start with it.
They may want to do this initial purchase the
Opening
flag and put them on
Yeah, yeah,
themselves,
yeah.
great, and after that, it'll fall to us.
Okay, cool, as long as our DPW is aware, I'm happy
Yeah.
with it.
As long as we're picking this apart, are they gonna have a light dedicated to the flag?
I don't think so. I'm not sure. I gotta double check the one in front of the water plant. The one in the park doesn't work anymore. There's ambient light around it.
Well, there should be a dedicated light for all of those flagpoles.
I know, I've talked to Dan about one. There's one buried in the ground, surface mounted, in the park, and I'd like to get those reconstituted, so to speak, as well they should be, to shine up. There's a specific three-part light that you're supposed to do.
Do you happen to remember or have an idea of cost
Flags.
for lights?
Oh, that, if I remember right, we did have someone look at that. It was about $600-700 to redo the wiring and not even sure that would replace all three of the ground mount fixtures. It could be more easily, for all three fixtures to be replaced. But You can get good above ground pictures, I know, about 500 a piece, but then that's just one more thing for the DPW will mow around. People trip on the park, but obviously it's very busy. So the flush mowing is one for best. They can mow right over them, people don't trip over them, but that's one of the things that I looked at last year or the year before. Well, when we had an electrician give us some price on that, exactly what in order.
So, if they're not putting in a light in on this one, can we see what a quote is to it?
Well, there's electricity in that shed right in the box, so that, and the LED lights don't draw much nowadays, and they last a long time. You can get 5-6 years out of a flagpole light.
Both of those fields have electricity for the T-ball pitching machines.
Yeah, and there's right here,
Are we going to take charge of replacing the flags when they're tattered?
Yeah, we do that probably twice a year.
Okay.
Really windy, sometimes they get a little torn, we can do them a little quicker. So I can hold off the installation and then we can make the flagpole in, but do not fly the flag, we have lighting on it, if that's where we're going, I think.
I'll make a motion to approve the installation of the flagpoles at Scripper Park by Warbound.
support.
All right, motion made by Helmut, supported by Bordeaux. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any nays? I'm hearing none. Motion passes. All right, item 10, items removed from the consent agenda. We have none, so that brings us back to item 11, public comment. Seeing no public comment, we will move on to committee reports. Lori, would you like to update us about NODA?
Oh man, our meeting was so short and such a long time ago. They're purchasing some more vehicles and just working on, with the state still. So there hasn't been a lot of changes yet, and we're moving towards getting ready for the parking lot to be redone, and that's really about it. Yeah.
Did the other municipalities vote similarly to us for funding and all of that?
Yes.
Yes.
That was unanimous.
Mo, Planning Commission, and Cable Commission.
The planning commission, I believe, I spent all my time with you people. I don't believe the planning commission has had a meeting. I don't believe the DDA has had a meeting since we last did all this. So I have no update.
The DDA or the Cable Commission?
Both, planning commission and cable commission. I don't do DDA.
But you said DDA.
I'm sorry. They're not doing anything either, so let's skip it all.
Kelly, have you had a meeting that you would like to update?
Sure.
But I did that.
Mo decided you haven't, so.
I mean,
The queen has spoken.
it's fine. Yeah, so we had a really great meeting for our projects, our placemaking projects that we received the grants on this past year. So Joe was part of that meeting today. We had, I think a group of 10, maybe different contractors out. We're gonna start in about 2 weeks behind the NAPS quadrant there. And that's all gonna be torn up in about 2 days, and everything, all new pavement laid. We're gonna have a fireplace out there with seating, lighting's gonna go up, new archways in that area. And then the T-Mobile project behind Victoria's is probably gonna take place a little closer to fall. So that was just nice to hear that it's all gonna be starting. The mural actually will be started on Thursday. Nick Cotton's flying back into town for that. Molly from Lake Orion and I presented in Boston at the national conference 2 weeks ago, and it was really nice to just showcase our two downtowns and get to talk about Oxford, and it was a really good presentation, so we were excited about that. Bob worked on our trolley. Sorry we went back and forth on that so much. I was pretty sick, but he worked on our agreement with
I was
NODA, so
reading between your lines.
Yeah, so that's all set, and the trolley is consistently running Friday and Saturdays. I actually purchased a web domain yesterday, charlielocation.com, so now you'll just be able to go to that instead of having to find a link on Facebook, and that will help bring it up and make it easier for people to find. If you haven't been to our website lately, we've been more consistently updating it. We launched the new one about 2 months ago. Soon we will have our full concert schedule on there. All of our acts are booked. We'll be doing the summer kickoff on June 22nd with our first one, and then Ava Swiss will be performing for Family Night on July 6th. So we're excited about that. Our open air market in Washington Square will also coincide with our concert, so we'll start on June 22nd and it'll run throughout the summer. And we do have a consistent vendor that is coming providing produce that's in 2 20 by 20 tents, so lots of produce this year, which will be nice too. And people will have dedicated spaces, and we have already 22 vendors, so we're accepting 8 more, which is really good. Everything else, you heard about the parking lot, Joe talked about that. Infrastructure-wise, we'll be between placemaking and the parking lot almost doing $650,000 of work before this fall, with some about $200,000 more anticipated funding coming in that we will also be doing infrastructure projects with. So lots of good things to happen, but a lot going on at the DDA. So everything else, Joe, did I miss anything?
I don't think so.
Good, okay.
How did the vendors get in contact with you?
Yeah, so we have a form on our website that they can go to, or they can just shoot us an email or call us. Some of them walk right in. So any way that they want to get in touch with us, they can. And we've got a couple new ones this year, but a lot of them are returning from last year, which is really nice too.
And what is your website so people?
Yeah, so if you just Google Downtown Oxford DDA, it'll pop up, or downtownoxford.info. Either way, you can also access it from the village website and click on the link that way too, or go to our Facebook page.
Thank you.
Yeah.
A question.
Yeah.
Our murals,
Yeah.
we have 2. I don't want to say this in something. They're not joyful. They don't have a lot of color. I mean, do we have a theme? Is that what we're doing?
We do, yeah. So we really try, the design committee works on our murals and the design. We go back and forth for months, also, talking with Joe in the village. But we really felt like we needed to preserve the historic nature of the downtown instead of having really bright colors. We really wanted to go with something more of those muted tones. And that way, we can stay with our buildings that are very historic as well. The artists would actually love to paint more color. We haven't let them. So our first one was, really trying to focus on Oxford and the downtown, then also paying tribute to the tragedy. And then the second one was really focused on history. This third one is in a space that we received the grant for the community gathering. So this one focuses on more of a community theme.
I mean, Rochester's got that one with the fish. LaGuardian's got the one with the
Dragon.
fireworks. Well, the one building's just covered in fireworks.
Yeah.
And ours almost seem joyless. And I don't know that we want a downtown that's joyless.
I think they portray joy by the meaning of them. I don't think that you have to have bright colors to find joy in something. I think the joy is brought on by the history in them and then what they're saying. I'm not opposed to color. I just feel like we have beautiful historic buildings and I don't want to take away from those.
But our beautiful historic buildings all have color.
Do they? We have a color palette that we're pretty in.
The orange, that burnt orange, the yellow, the dark, there's color there. And we're doing light blue, we're doing gold, we're doing dark blue. It's just my opinion, it's just one person, and it's not my taste, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And I think, that is something that we do talk about in design committee and we talk about as a board. we know that we're never gonna please everybody. We know that there are some people that would like more color. We didn't want to do a disservice to the historic nature of our downtown, and that's really where we came to kind of just land on that. I don't want anything that screams and takes away from the buildings downtown.
But like I said, there are colors in those buildings, in that palette, in that what's it called, Pantone? What was that it's called?
I'm not sure.
Pantone, color wheel, yeah. All right.
Has there been, I'm sorry. Has there been any thought to, some of the communities and villages around here are doing digital signage for, I want to say it, it's almost kind of like walk-up, stand-up digital signage for the various different buildings, businesses, so on and so forth, where you can do some marketing in there about events coming up, as well as promotion of the actual businesses themselves. Has there been any thought given to potentially looking into that, or is that something you'd be willing to look into?
Yeah, so I actually explored this early on when I first came to the DDA about 2 years ago now. They're pretty costly, and since we just invested in the 4 that are on M24 for the wayfinding signs, we decided not to go forward with that at the time. It would be a lot easier to do the digital, because right now we are taking on the printing costs and then putting the new posters in, and we have to go out and physically change them. But the signage that is digital is very expensive. But it's definitely something I'd be willing to look into again. I mean, we could change it more often, which I do like. I like that idea.
Okay. And then the reason why I ask is I believe there are some SEMCOG grants that could potentially go across communities that might be able to support some.
For sure, yeah. When you see one, if you send it to me, I get the SEMCOG emails too, but that would be awesome.
All right.
I was just gonna say, I really like the temporary art thing that you put over in there, the stars.
The Stars of Hope.
So I thought like a temporary art thing that could change every so often.
We have talked about that. There's a way to do it with temporary, like, I don't want to call them pallets, but it's in that kind of sense, and then put them on that wall, so it is something we're discussing.
Yeah, I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
You just invite different artists at different times and make it an event.
Agreed.
It'd be pretty cool.
Agreed.
I like what you're doing, so.
Thank you.
Thanks, Scott, we appreciate it. Joe, Pollyant Trail.
I can't remember if I was up
It's a
for it.
very short and sweet meeting.
Yeah, the power outage. That was the day the power was out.
Yeah.
Oh,
It was scheduled at Orion Township, and the power was out that day. So I don't know if they, I never heard anything about them rescheduling it, so don't know. Our power was out here till just about 5 o'clock, and the meeting was at 3. They were out all down there too, so.
and I know it's a pretty short and sweet agenda.
Okay, there wasn't much on, and I planned on going, but then we were out, and we went out at like 10 in the morning, and finally about 12, 1 o'clock, we went home and took around, and it was around 5 o'clock, so I didn't do it. I don't know if it had me.
Are they collecting hands right now?
Yeah, that was was it?
I believe it may have.
Overdone, was that March, that the cane collection thing was?
Oh,
It's like 2 more weeks and it's done now.
Oh, okay.
Here?
Yeah.
They extended it 2 more weeks, so it should be done by the end of this weekend.
Sweet.
Okay,
so hurry up and get your cans here.
Yeah.
all right.
They've made over 3,000, I think, before.
Really?
Good. Nothing will nothing will compete with that original,
28, remember that one?
that was quite the feat.
What was the number?
28,000.
Yeah, that's right.
It's still ripe back there. Go.
Like a candy shop.
Oh, boy.
Looked like a frat party.
Oh, yes. You need a mask to deal with, try to clean them up.
I did it in July, right after the 4th of July parties.
Yes. All right, manager, clerk, staff, and attorney report.
Okay, so March, busy time of year, surface water, our water plant reports to the state, cross-connection report, and our, like every 5 years, we do our MS4, separated sanitary sewer report, storm sewer. A lot of work there, we got that in just in the nick of time for April. Oakland County Parks grant is due the 21st, I submitted it yesterday. Mo found a typo in it for me.
My job.
It's your job. We do have another special event, small, minor one coming in August. I think it will be on our agenda for next month. It's the church. I don't know if it's firmly rooted again or another church. Oakwood Church, I think it is. They've done it in part. Just waiting for a little feedback on some of the reviews from department heads. One of our...
Have we heard from the VFW?
From Memorial Day?
Yes.
I've not. Have you? No. You saw the memo in there about them, I think St. Everett wanted doing the poppies and stuff. I think that was American Legion.
I was married to me.
Yes, but I've not heard anything from the Memorial Day at all yet. Jarvis Canvas has reached out to me to volunteer, and I've worked with Don Brantley. Hopefully they're going to do some volunteer work with Scripture Park in the first week of May. The lead and copper rules work that we approved for the service line replacements, where we have 50 properties scheduled, residential properties. He was going to try to be going this week, but he's behind somewhere else, so it'll probably be next week. DPW and Sons will be in doing that, and that's kind of better for us because after he's done, the restoration has to take place from the DPW to topsoil and seed, and there's warm weather that makes that seed germinate and go a lot better. So, and I just will touch base the signage and the digital signage and stuff. We have a pretty restrictive digital sign ordinances and regulations, so we're very limited on what can be done as far as digital space, especially with MDOT and the MDOT right away. I know about one time you talked about little QR codes on buildings and stuff where digital information was transferred as you walk through downtown.
That is still being discussed.
But as far as display, that's really tough to do.
Can you reach out to the Legion? Because they're going to have their request in the next month's meeting.
Yeah.
For Memorial Day.
Yeah, usually they get a hold of Mike, I thought, in the past, so we'll have to reach out to them.
Yeah, I can reach out to her next week.
Okay.
Or tomorrow.
There you go. Other than that, that's all I have.
Carrie, do you have any?
No, I don't have anything.
Bob?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Chief?
Yeah, you know, a couple of our new officers that we've hired recently are coming along really well. One just did a reading at Dan Lasher Elementary School today. New Tahoe's coming along. I just took that down to get that outfitted finally, so that'll start coming around. I'm waiting on permission from the school or school head to let us put the Wildcat face on the two front sides of the Tahoe. I think that would be a good representation of the school. I've seen it done in other communities, so it's come around. Things are going good, and we're going to be in and out and ready for all these events that are happening. So we're looking forward to nice weather and getting out again. Of course, we're always out.
Kelly, did you have anything else to add?
Okay, thank you.
All right, council comments, Lori.
I think over the summer, I would like to readdress the ordinance on sidewalks for residents.
Snow on sidewalks?
Snow slash.
Should have to do it versus wait until December.
Yeah, I mean, we've got some that I've heard people saying, you know, they shoveled and they still got an ordinance or a violation, and it's something about ice, and I don't remember us requiring residents also salt, and you just...
It's the accumulation clause.
Yeah, and it's snow and ice.
Yeah, these people definitely shoveled though, so it's definitely, so I just think we need to readdress it. I am all for businesses need to be doing these things, but I think residents, we need to, I just would like to.
Yeah, absolutely,
open
we
that
can
up.
bring it up, you guys can discuss it.
Yeah. Other than that, I don't really have anything. I appreciate you guys and hope everybody have a happy Easter.
I just want to say that the greatest grandchild ever born was born Friday morning at 5:30 in the morning.
How do you know my birthday just happened?
Was
Mine was
8 pounds, 12 ounces. Well, that's my daughter's heart. So the chosen one has arrived.
Congratulations.
22.5 inches long.
Wow.
He started school next week.
Congrats. Name?
Miles Patrick.
Oh,
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Jacob?
Well, I think Girl Scout cookie season is over, so,
That's a shame.
other than that, nothing.
If anyone has some in their freezers that they're trying to sell, right here.
Did you never get any?
Oh, I got some, but then Kelsey ran out.
I still have 2 boxes of cinnamons. You
I
have to make a deal.
have 2 smalls in the pit, but I think 11.
Thank you all for bearing with me as I stumble through the agenda. And Joe, thank you for the grant proposal.
Oh, I think the grandpa won.
Grandpa what?
My son's 25.
Surprise!
Appreciate it, thank you.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved at 8:15.
Support, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays? All right, and then thank you all.
Good job.